Hi everyone, it's Andrew from Vocabulary Ninja. Today this is my second video about the new publication of Write Like a Ninja, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about the actual contents of the book, and excitingly the additional content of Alan Peat's exciting sentences, which I'm absolutely over the moon about, genuinely buzzing. It's one of the things that when I first started teaching, and funnily enough was a maths coordinator at a local school, Alan Peat's exciting sentences was one of the first things I really got my teeth into, even though I was a maths coordinator, but as a year 5-6 teacher, where it was something that I really felt like got some really fabulous outcomes for pupils. So I'm over the moon that Alan is on board in terms of his content being in the books. And I know Alan as well, in speaking to him over email as we've sort of built this in lockdown, is really excited to be involved in Vocabulary Ninja and the brand and the educational content that comes with it. So today's short video, we're just going to genuinely look at, I'm going to overview some of the contents of the book, because I know people are often eager to know actually what is it that I get with this book, how is it sort of laid out, and I'm sort of trying to awkwardly do this through a video. So as I've said in video number 1, if you saw it or you didn't see it, was just basically overviewing the premise of the book, in terms of the book is genuinely there to face pupils, and obviously it can be used for teachers and parents supporting that writing process, but the main premise for me in my mind is for that pupil to support pupils and make writing a more purposeful process, and a process that children look forward to and enjoy, because there's something there. Even if the teacher is working with another group, there's something there for them that can support them to get past an issue or a barrier, a learning moment that they may be struggling with. So I think that's really important, and that's, at the heart of everything, that's what the book's about. And I know that's why Alan was really keen to get on board with what the book is all about, and why we've published the book is because at the heart of everything that Alan wants to get across with his exciting sentences is all about not that mechanical process of writing, of making sure we get in a 2 ED sentence. It's about the creative process of how those sentences add value in terms of inference and structure and so on, and description. So it's a big part of what is included in the books. So just as a little bit of an overview, as we said, the size is great with the book. In terms of the contents, the basic content is about the first thing that children encounter is a grammar reference section in the book. So everything that there is that sort of checklist aspect, because I'm as an experienced teacher myself, I'm conscious that still plays a part in everything that we do, and that children will need, or certain children, lots of children will maybe struggle to remember how a certain conjunction or a fronted adverbial, or specific contractions or determiners, whatever it may be, adverbs and so on. So within the book, the first section, I quite like how I like the design aspect in terms of the side reference part, in terms of that old file of facts type look, where it's really easy for children just to sort of skim the outside of the book and make sure that they can find a section really, really simply. So that's pretty cool. So we've got the first grammar writing section, which, as I've said, covers all those sort of standard things in the classroom, your adverbs. So straight away, if a pupil needs to reference some adverbs, we've got a page or two in alphabetical order of that. Front adverbials the same in terms of sort of our time, our frequency, the degree, position, and so on. So dead straightforward. The classics: subordinating, coordinating, conjunctions. The endless amount of sheets we must print off as teachers over a whole school, actually costs money. We've got that set reference area. Bang, straight away we drop to page 18 and 19. Eventually that'll stick in people's brains, and we can just drop into that dead straightforward. So everything that we're going to need, especially from that sort of very much that sort of able year 2 writer moving up, I think for maybe your year 1 children, there's maybe a lot in here for them to sort of navigate physically and so on. Thinking about my own children who are in year 2, there's certain aspects at the front or the back in terms of the adjectives and so on that they would definitely be able to reference independently. So I think that's where we're looking to start, and I think this could go anywhere upwards beyond key stage 2 into that lower key stage 3. It's definitely going to support pupils who've maybe had that awful deal of the last 2 years of COVID basically wiping out year 6 and what has been most of their year 7. So I think in that sense that's really going to be useful for children, which I'm currently working with children in key stage 2 and key stage 3 over the course of my working week. Then I think we move into the exciting part of the book, which is Alan's section. So that's straight into the second section in terms of the contents, is Alan's exciting sentences. And there's a whole host of Alan's sentences which are referenceable. So straight away we go into sort of that example of the 2A sentences is 3ED, the 3 bad dash, verb person, 2 pair sentences. So when you come into the book, there's a really simple sort of definition of what it does. There's some instructions on how to use that type of sentence, and then there's 2 or 3 examples of how to use that sentence. So it's again really referenceable for children in terms of there's 2 or 3 examples that are really neatly there that explain, and all of the definitions in the book, so whether it's contractions on page 18 and 19 if it was just referenced, whether it's adjectives or modal verbs or metaphors, this book is also designed for pupils working at home. So parents trying to support children at home, as that we have been in lockdown, every definition in here is very, very simple. So there's not a huge, overbearing definition of what a fronted adverbial is. And I use that example because that's one that you see on the social media sort of threads around sort of grammar and the learning expectations at home. So we've tried to make sure that every single definition that's put in there is very, very straightforward, very child friendly because the book is child facing, but also parent friendly in the sense of actually we may be very unfamiliar with this because, that standard sort of cliche, I wasn't taught this at school, and the curriculum has changed. So it's important that this book is here to support schools, teachers, pupils first and foremost, and then parents, and why not as well support staff in school because they don't necessarily always have the time, etc. and so on. So kitting out our TAs with one of these, our classroom assistants, this is going to massively inform and improve outcomes for pupils because you've got that one-stop reference guide for support staff in school who are going to be able to go straight to this book, sit with a child, sit with an intervention group, whatever it may be, and not need, although that's what we would want, they don't necessarily have that in-depth knowledge of maybe an experienced teacher and so on, without doing anybody a disservice. So Alan's sentences, brilliant, and I'm so pleased that he's you can probably tell that Alan's come on board with this, and I know this will enhance the outcomes and what the book offers tenfold, and it certainly does. And I think then finally we sort of move into some of the other sections where we then move into sort of all these awesome alternative sections. So, your standard vocabulary for me in terms of huge alphabetical sections of the standard words that people might use, colours. So when we want children to vary sort of that adjective or noun that children are using, or to big, maybe using their writing a lot, there's a whole list of alternatives for the word big, etc. and so on. So in terms of referencing and varying that vocabulary, looking for alternative word choices, there's probably 20, 30, 40, 50 pages of content that's linked to pupils that they can just drop in and reference straight away, which is great. Again, looking at varying verb choices. So one of my sort of one area that I'm always talking to teachers about is 3 words, which are got, get, went, in terms of how those verb choices can be very dry and hollow and lack inference. So there's pages of alternatives of verb choices and verb phrases which we can use for pupils to enhance what they're offering, in terms of not saying that he got out of bed, but he climbed out of bed, or he ambled out of bed, or he groaned out of bed, rolled, and all the inference that comes with those verb choices are important. And again, when we're moving children from at to greater depth, and that's going to, all of those single word choices are just as important as the whole piece of writing. And again, it's just an instant scaffold. And then finally, the contents moves into a really specific section of character description, so really breaking down, if I just find that section for you, so even going into arms and legs, how we might describe skin, into a nose, eyes, a huge host of reference points in terms of being able to build that character description, which pupils often really find difficult. And then finally moving into that setting description. So no matter what setting children are working in, the spooky forest, the haunted castle, the school, wherever it may be, the city centre, excuse me, there's a whole host of pages associated with setting description. So basically, as I've said, it is that sort of designed to be that one-stop shop in terms of all of the grammar expectations, all of the vocabulary variation that we would want pupils to have, that scaffolding, that independence, and then building into character and setting description in a really neat, small, as we've sort of referenced before. And if you didn't see video 1, just if you get a reference of the size of the book, it's a really sort of neat size, 20 centimeters by sort of 14 centimeters, perfect for one on every desk sort of thing. And that's the situation I think we get the best outcomes for pupils. So again, over the moon that Alan's on board. The content that he's added and the knowledge is invaluable, along with all of the amazing content that you know and love from Vocabulary Ninja in one amazing book, Write Like a Ninja, which is available on the 1st of August, 1st of April, April Fool's Day, for everybody to purchase. And I think currently the book is actually only about £4.30 a copy. And interestingly, schools, if you are interested in ordering bulk packs, which in my head is where we're going to get the best value, Bloomsbury are currently offering a bulk 10 pack, which is discounted. So if you ordered sort of, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those packs, you're going to get a considerable discount if we're wanting to kit out Key Stage 2 or whatever it may be, single classes, to get the best outcomes for pupils. And I think Bloomsbury are excitingly putting also together a digital resources pack that's going to support those bulk purchase packs as well. So really excited. Thanks for listening to this second video about the contents of the books, and I hope that gives you a bit of a better insight into what Write Like a Ninja is all about.